Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here. We are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Friday, Payday, January 6th slate of NBA action, man. I'm super excited to dive into it. We do have a full slate of NBA games on. We have 11 games here on the slate, and we have some pretty good matchups. I got to be completely honest. We got some really fun, enjoyable matchups, and I'm super excited to dive into a couple plays that I did end up finding. But before we did, I did just want to go ahead and say that we are still currently on the road to 11,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys do like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Next, I did just want to go ahead and give a quick shout out here to all of our members here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do, and thank you guys so much for giving such a small channel such a big chance, as I always say. It truly does mean the absolute world to me, so much more than you guys will ever know. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into a quick recap as of yesterday. Man, these bad beats are just, it's literally just one after another, after another, after another. It really is. So let's go ahead and dive into it. We had our kill shot play of the day. We had Jason Tatum over 29.5 points versus the Mavs. Seems like everybody and their brother was on Jason Tatum, so I guess I do kind of get it. But he finishes right at 29. And if this game was even semi-close, the Mavericks ended up losing by like 30. If this game was even semi-close, Jason Tatum smokes this over. Nobody on the Dallas Mavericks was stopping him tonight. It was very unfortunate. Definitely a tough one to swallow for sure. Then we did also have the Magic. We had them +6 versus the Grizzlies at -110. This one was so incredibly frustrating because, one, Franz Wagner ends up missing a free throw. Franz Wagner overall had a great fourth quarter, but he did end up missing that free throw. Okay, whatever the case, whatever it is. Then down at the other end, Ja Morant ends up, well, first things first, they were down by like 26 at one point. So this game was clearly over. Magic fought all the way back, ends up bringing it to within like 8 points. Franz Wagner ends up missing a free throw to put them like down by 7. Then all of a sudden, Ja Morant on the other end only makes one of 2 free throws. So then they're in this weird spot where they're up by like 9, where if they end up, making a shot, they end up covering. If they end up like hitting the 3, they at least push, stuff like that. It was a weird situation. And then at the last shot of the game, they had Paolo take the jump shot from 3 instead of Franz Wagner, who dropped 19 points in the fourth quarter alone. Why? I'm sorry, but why? There was no Desmond Bane out there for the Grizzlies. Franz Wagner could have gotten an open look, and Franz Wagner had the hot hand. Why? 19 points in the fourth quarter. Just give it to your hot hand and see if he can hit a 3. Regardless, odds are they would have still fouled afterwards, even if they would have brought it to where they were down by 3 or whatever the case might be. But still, it was just frustrating just because there were so many opportunities. Oh, Markelle Fultz also missed a wide open layup to bring them within 6. So there was just so many opportunities in this game, and they just kind of gave them away. But regardless, barely missed out on it. I think they won by like 8, so it was kind of a tough situation. Then we had the Jazz and the Rockets over 232. This one was no sweat whatsoever. My boy Lauri Markkanen. I'll get the jersey eventually. I have it over here, but Lauri Markkanen, 49 points from the guy. He went absolutely ballistic. I love Lauri Markkanen, if you guys know. If you guys don't know, I'm a diehard Bulls fan. Love Lauri Markkanen. Nothing but respect for Lauri Markkanen. Have his Bulls jersey right over here. Love Lauri Markkanen, and he went absolutely berserk. Somebody had commented down below and was asking, what are some other player props that you do like, and stuff like that. I told him I like both of Lauri's lines. I like his PRA line. I like his points line. I even like his points plus rebounds line. I like all of it. Crushed every single one of it. And I also had another one. I had Alperen Şengün. I liked his over in points and rebounds. Ends up crushing that. So it's been tough. It's been tough out here on the channel. Hopefully we can go ahead and get things turned around. I have 3 plays that I really like. Who knows if they're going to end up hitting or not. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's plays. So for our first official play of the day, we are going to be taking for our Kings Kill Shot play of the day. We're going with Fred VanVleet over 18.5 points here versus the Knicks at -105 odds. Now I know There was a stat that was put out there that Fred VanVleet has the worst field goal percentage in all of basketball. Weirdly enough, that's why I like it, because his back is not going to be any farther against the wall than it can be right now. Everybody in the world is going to be hounding on him the fact that he has the worst field goal percentage in all basketball. He's got to pick it up at some point, and I think this is a really good spot overall versus the Knicks. He did end up dropping 28 last game versus the Milwaukee Bucks, so he kind of got out of that rut just a little bit, and I think it continues on here today because Fred VanVleet's actually really good at home. He averages 20.8 points per game at home, only 15.8 on the road, so he does average 5 more points per game at home, making this number a lot more reasonable. Also, on the season, the Knicks do allow the 8th most points per game to opposing point guards and the 6th most in their last 7. So they've given up a lot of points to that point guard position on the season, and nothing has really changed here recently. So I do like that quite a bit. And they also allow the 5th most points per or 3-pointers per game to opposing point guards. I love this because, as we all know, Fred VanVleet, he loves to shoot threes, absolutely fires threes. And so if they do give up a lot here in New York, and if they give up a lot to that point guard position, then sign me up. I think it's a really good spot. And Fred VanVleet's shown signs of success for you versus the New York Knicks recently. In his last 6 games, he's had 28, 35, 17, 17, 27, and 25. So he has hit this over in every game besides 2 of them, and in both those games, he was just 2 points shy. Knowing my luck, he will end up getting to 17 points once again and finishing right at 17 points. But for right now, the stats do back it up. Hopefully it ends up working out here for us. So that is going to be our first official play of the day, our King Kill Shot play of the day. Fred VanVleet over 18.5 points here versus the Knicks at minus 105 odds. Now for our second official play of the day, we're taking James Harden, the Beard, over 41.5 PRAs here versus Chicago at minus 120 odds. Huge thing here. No Joel Embiid in this game. It looks like he's going to be out here versus Chicago. And without Embiid, James Harden's been a pretty good basketball player. I mean, he is with Embiid on the floor, but without Embiid, he's really had to step things up, and I think he will once again. Without Embiid this year, in his last 3 games, he's had 40, 39, and 47 PRAs. I think we do see similar to the 47 PRA here versus the Bulls, because my Chicago Bulls, they stink, and their defense is really, really bad. So, also, this is going to be at home, so it's going to be in Philadelphia, where James Harden averages not only more points, but also more rebounds and assists at home this year. So it's not by a huge margin, but it is a little bit of something to go off of. Also, Chicago does allow the 8th most points per game to point guards in their last 7 games. As much as I love Ayo Dosunmu, the defense has not really been there the last couple games. We just saw, Donovan Mitchell with no Darius Garland drop 70. So, it is what it is. And then Chicago also does allow the 18th most points to opposing teams just in general, and 23rd most in the last 3 games. So not only are they a bad defense in general, they're even worse here recently, and they allow more points on the road than they do at home. So they're a little bit better at the United Center, but not really too much. But they do allow more points on the road. So I think it's a really good spot. And they also allow the 3rd most points per game to opposing teams from the 3-point line. Why this is important is because obviously James Harden, as great of a player as he is, what he loves to do is drive and kick to his open shooters. That's what the 76ers really have. I mean, if you look at their roster, it's really just a bunch of shooters, right? I mean, like outside of James Harden and Embiid, they have a lot of 3-point shooters out there. So if the Bulls do give up a lot of threes, which they do, since they do give up a lot of threes, I think it's going to be a really good spot here, especially for James Harden to pass the ball as well. So I really do like this play for our second official play of the day. James Harden over 41.5 PRAs here versus Chicago at minus 120 odds. Now for our third and final play of the day, we are going to be taking Kristaps Porzingis over 9.5 rebounds here versus the Thunder at minus 105 odds. Now, I like this for a couple different reasons. First things first, OKC does allow the 2nd most rebounds per game to opposing centers. They do allow a lot of rebounds to that center position. All we're asking for is double digits here from Kristaps Porzingis, and I think he can do that. He has gone over in 4 out of his last 7 games, so he has been, pretty good to this number, and I think we can get it once again. Another thing that I like is The Thunder run a small ball offense. They have a lot of young guys that are out there trying to figure out exactly how they're going to work, how the pieces are going to work with that team. And so the tallest player out there that is getting rotational minutes as of right now is Mike Muscala, standing at 6'10". I don't know about you guys, but I'm not worried about Mike Muscala taking rebounds away from a guy like Kristaps Porzingis. I think that he can get it done here for us. Also, OKC does give up the most rebounds per game to opposing teams. I feel like a lot of these are going to fall to Porzingis. Another good rebounder here for this team, for this Wizards team, is going to be Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's listed as out for this game, so and it looks like he's going to be missing some time just in general. So I think this is a really good spot. OKC does also play at the fastest pace in all of basketball, and not only do they play at a fast pace, they're 20th in field goal percentage. So they're playing at a fast pace, shooting a lot of shots, and not really making a whole lot of them. That's a sign for a ton of rebounds, and I think Kristaps Porzingis is going to get a ton of these. So I really do like it here for a third official play of the day. Kristaps Porzingis over 9.5 rebounds here versus OKC at minus 105 odds. Now, for our consensus play, we are going to be going to the Nets and the Pelicans game. The Nets travel to New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. Currently, the Pelicans are 4.5-point underdogs. If you want to look at some of the injury report, the Nets do have TJ Warren listed on there. He's listed as a game-time decision. I don't know if he'll play, but truthfully, I don't know if it'll really matter too much. And when it comes to the Pelicans, they've got a lot of question marks here. No Brandon Ingram. No Zion Williamson. Huge pieces right there. They're missing both those guys. Hernan Gomez is listed as questionable, and Larry Nance Jr. is also listed as questionable. These are all guys that do get rotational minutes, and I think that it is going to really affect them. So I'm going to save us all a little bit of time here. We have 5 cappers on Brooklyn, and I think it's a really good spot. So I just don't think that the Pelicans can get it done. I mean, they are at home, and I get that, but without Zion, without Brandon Ingram, you're asking for a lot from CJ McCollum and from Jonas Valanciunas, and they can do it, but it's going to take a lot. So I just think that the Nets can go ahead and win here by at least 5. Coming off of that loss from Chicago, I think they're in a bounce-back spot as well. I really do like it here. So that's the consensus play of the day. Brooklyn Nets minus 4.5 here versus the Pelicans at minus 110 odds. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys do like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Like I said, we're on the road to 11,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys are subbed. But that's going to do it for me. This is King Center signing out. Peace.